I gave this one a 4. So Dan Dibley, this was about a week ago, and he was talking about Draymond Green. And he said how sometimes Dibs will acknowledge, sometimes he's got a little bit of a temper. Or sometimes...
Yes.
Yeah, he has acknowledged that. He did it on Friday, as a matter of fact.
He's open.
So there's a guy named Norm Crosby, a dead comedian. There's a funny line. But he was the king of what they called the malapropism, where he misused words. And Dibley's great with words. But
like simple rocket appliances.
What's that?
Instead of, it's easy rocket science.
Exactly. Anyway, Dibs is talking about Draymond Green, and he said, hey, listen, I think, I know a little bit about Draymond Green. He and I are cut from the shame cloth. He said shame cloth.
Yes, he did.
I mean, I don't think he liked it because I texted him and I said shame cloth with cloth with the crying emojis. Yeah, he didn't get back to me on that one.
Well, he said it. He didn't think it was funny though, or he didn't appreciate that you thought it was funny.
I don't know. We can find out today.
2:00.
At 2:00. Let's go to Antonio in Oakland. He may have given up on the Golden State Warriors, but not the 49ers. What's up, Antonio? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Number 1 seed, this matchup, seems like the Ravens, they always beat us. Every time we faced them in 2011, it was a primetime game, they beat us. 2012, Super Bowl, 2019, man, we always lose to them. But we're so blessed to have all these players, and all of them are just important. It's just like if you take away Steph, Clay, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, can you still win a championship? It's like that. Like, all of them are important. Maybe Brock Purdy is the more rightest answer because he's the quarterback, but it's not a wrong answer either, man. But I think Christian McCaffrey is probably a quicker, faster Frank Gore. Brock Purdy's a better arm, wide leg, Jeff Garcia. So we blessed with this, and I think we're going to go all the way and we'll get that 6th trophy finally. It's going to finally break through, get that monkey off our back, a.k.a. Steve Young when he got the Joe Montana monkey off their back. It's going to be just like that. And I can't wait.
Thanks, A. Happy holidays to you, buddy. Hope you're well. Yeah, I mean, again, just kind of how I came out starting the show. I just feel like Brock Purdy now we've seen for a year. He's good. He's really good. He's a heck of a quarterback. He's good. I don't care if is he top 5? Who cares? He's good. He's really good. And the 49ers, they're good enough to win it all. Like, what's left to see? There's nothing. I need to see more. Well, you will. Yeah, you'll see more. You'll see 3 more regular season games, and then the playoffs start. That's what you see. And then they're either winning it or they'll get beat in the playoffs, and then we're going to talk about how they got beat and whether it's something that they can overcome in the future, or they're going to win the title, and we're going to talk about whether they got multiple titles in the future coming. What else is there? This is it. They're good. They've proven that. They're in the playoffs. They want to get home field. They won the division. Pretty. Exactly.
They're guaranteed at least a home game.
And that's, he's still not that good, Brock Purdy. Okay, well then bet against him. You know what? Bet against that they'll win it all. It's that simple.
I mean, I'm basically at the point that anytime I see someone that says that he's not good or he's, I don't know, he's going to turn into a pumpkin, like I just don't give any credence to it. Like it's something that you should just ignore because there's always going to be debates about a quarterback and their situation or their fit or how good they are. But the fact of the matter is the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. And they proved that again this weekend. I mean, they basically walked their way to a 45-point game in which the defense didn't play well. That's how good they are, and that's how good that they have been throughout this season. No one is going to go 16-0 every single year, but the 49ers and Brock Purdy give you the best chance to win each and every Sunday, and that's why I do think that Brock Purdy is accepted. Now, he's going to headline a lot of shows because of what he continues to do, but I don't think there's anybody out there saying, I think a lot of fans and a lot of my friends have been, sending me different comments and conversations and replies about people that appear to be preying on his downfall. I don't know what a downfall looks like. Is it a loss in a Super Bowl? Because that's a pretty freaking high bar. We're talking about this team being able to get it done and do it all. Now, I think that in order for this season to be remembered as historic, you do at the end of the day have to hoist the Lombardi trophy. But that's basically all the 49ers have to prove at this point. Because even if for some reason, I don't know, they don't beat the Ravens or they're not the 1 seed, it's not like I would bet against them if they had to go to Philadelphia. If they had to go for some reason to Dallas, I wouldn't be betting against them. And I wouldn't be betting against Brock Purdy. That's where I'm at with this team. I expect them to make a deep run into the playoffs, and I expect them to make the Super Bowl. Because at the beginning of the season, like you were talking about your journey with Brock Purdy, right?
Yep.
And what you expected or what you thought was going to be difficult because he's a second-year guy, he's coming off an injury, all the questions, yada, yada. Well, to me, I looked at the San Francisco 49ers, and I said, if they get top 15 quarterback play, they'll be in the NFC Championship. If they get top 10 quarterback play, they'll be in the Super Bowl. And if they're getting a top 5 quarterback play, which they are currently from Brock Purdy, they can win the Super Bowl. And that's really where I'm at with this team. And so I can't wait for this thing to unfold because each and every week I got my eyes glued to the television because they have just repeatedly, consistently dominated, and they've looked like a team that has no real in the near future. Like, they don't appear that they're going to slow up anytime soon.
No. They absolutely, positively don't. The question is, they're going to be able to run the table? Or are they going to be able to go all the way? I think they've proven they're good enough to do it. But sometimes the best team doesn't always win, especially in football. KJ's in Novato. Hey, KJ, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing well, thank you.
I think the Niners are going to make the Super Bowl is one reason, debate or not, Purdy's the best quarterback. In my opinion, he's better than Mahomes. I've had arguments with my friends say, why Mahomes better, but Purdy's proven. No one knew who he was, but again, I think Niners will win the Super Bowl. And there's a Super Bowl preview on Monday on Christmas. That'll be an amazing Christmas for all 49ers fans, for the Niners to beat the Ravens, so yeah.
Appreciate the call.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game because I think they're the two best teams.
Will it mean anything? How much would it mean if the Ravens win?
How so?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, like right now, you'd bet on the Niners.
Yes.
Okay. If the Ravens beat the Niners 28-17, would that make you less likely to consider the 49ers the favorites the next day? Or would it be, you know what? They still might not even play Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Even if they do, I think they would be, you know what I mean? Like, would you say, boy, now if they have to go through Baltimore, they got trouble?
Probably. I mean, but that's kind of how it goes. Like, if you get knocked off, I mean, people were they weren't willing to give the 49ers the number one status until they went into Philly and absolutely dismantled the Eagles. I mean, I guess some people were, but to me, that's, in week 5, like, I think through the first 4 weeks, there were some people in the national media saying that the Cowboys looked like the best team in football because of what they'd done. And then the Niners waxed them. So, no, look, if the Ravens win on Christmas, I think you got to give them their flowers. But it doesn't mean if they met in the Super Bowl, which would have to be their next meeting,
right, that
I'd be any less likely to pick the 49ers or think that they can win. Like,
really? I think if the Ravens beat the Niners and then it's a Ravens-Niners Super Bowl, obviously the Niners can win, but having seen the Niners get beat by a team takes a little bit away from their reputation in that game.
Oh, they also lost to P.J. Walker.
True, and if Cleveland's in the postseason, maybe
Joe Flacco?
Maybe. I don't know.
He's championing your team right now.
Well,
no,
I'm actually Kyle Shanahan only a notch above him.
Actually, I do take that back because I think Baltimore winning in San Francisco would be impressive.
Yeah, I want to just say real quickly, I used 5 quarterbacks this year in my fantasy. We won with all of them. We won with Beathard and Mullins, something that he couldn't do. And I talk about Kyle Shanahan. Boy.
You see Mullins out there this weekend?
I didn't, but I saw he played.
Yeah, he's for the Vikings. And Dobbs got benched. Our boy.
I still like my Vikings chances.
I know you do.
I still do.
The rest of the conference outside of the top 3 is, well, top 4. There's a chasm. AFC is a lot more muddled at this point.
How often today do you think? First of all, you think Goo's listening?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that he isn't because he's got better things to do.
I gotta believe.
I love you, Goo.
I gotta believe had he come in today, he would have mentioned something. I'm gonna say 5 times that we have yet to bring up.
The Cowboys are frauds?
No.
I am the system of this show.
Anybody? Had Guru been in today, he would have been like, but Steiny, they lose that fumble. They lose that Roddy Bell fumble. I'm just saying. It's 21-21. And come on.
You better be careful.
3.5 over under? I'm just saying, Steiny. Ronnie Bell, they lose that. Hey, I'm just saying. No shade.
Yeah, I think Goo would be down on a lot of things based on what the Cowboys did or what they didn't do yesterday in Buffalo.
Well, yeah, true. Who knows what Goo we would have
Although
gotten.
maybe the Warriors would have him on a high based on their weekend.
It's true.
They won a couple of games.
But, the one thing I was thinking, and I do mean this because this is how good I think the Niners are. You look at a game like yesterday, and they're playing a team they're better than. So you cannot, give up a pick 6 if you're an underdog. And then if you're an underdog, you can't make a play like that doesn't, I'm not saying it was a bad call. I'm not saying that at all.
But the punt or
the Ronnie Bell fumble.
Oh.
It's like you can't lose a play that you thought might have been a defensive touchdown and give up, or special teams, and then give up. It's too much to overcome for a team that's a 2+ score favorite. You know what I mean? Like the only way they win that game or the Cardinals extend that game to me is they don't give up a pick 6 and then they get a play like they got that got taken away from them. Then maybe we would have had a tight ball game down the stretch. But even that wouldn't have been a guarantee that they would have won. You follow what I'm saying there? Like you got to play almost a perfect game.
Yeah, no, you do. And that's, look, at this point in the season, I think we have enough evidence to know how teams may or may lose games. And unless the 49ers are playing another top-tier opponent, which they will on Monday, they're going to need a lot to not go their way in order to lose. But I think that's also credit to Kyle Shanahan because he has consistently, and it's not just this season too, but I think he's had consistently his teams outside of the 2020 year playing their best football at this point in the season. Even the 21 team that made a run to the NFC Championship and lost to the Rams that didn't have a great year or started, 3-5? Like he had them playing their best football at the end of the season. So whether they're playing the Cardinals, who are now 3-11, like they're not very good, or they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles or the Seattle Seahawks, all signs show that Kyle Shanahan-led teams are not going to flounder. Now, they might get caught up in a game in which there's a turnover. I mean, Brock Purdy threw a pick 6 in Seattle. Yesterday was the first time the Niners got a defensive score this season. And it's pretty remarkable considering how good their defense has played. But if you're another team, like the last thing you can do is lose the turnover battle. You might win the turnover battle and still lose the game. So, no, I don't think the Cardinals were in a position to dictate any terms yesterday. But the one thing that, again, I'll come back to if I'm going to do the guru is, Steiny, they gave up 234 yards rushing. That's a lot of freaking yards.
Yeah, and that gets wiped to 0 before the Baltimore game, so we'll work on that.
You saw how many Baltimore had in the second half yesterday?
200 and something, right?
Well, that was in the game. They had a $190 in the second half.
Oh, they didn't get to 200?
In the second half. They got to 200 overall.
You see James Cook had over 100 yards rushing in a half yesterday.
He beat the Cowboys by himself.
Yeah, he beat Ninja by himself, too.
Better be careful.
Shout out to Guru. By the way, is this true? Can anybody confirm or deny this? We have a text on the Comcast Business text line from the 972. Shout out to Guru for calling into the Cowboys post-game show.
Oh,
105.3 The Fan, our sister station.
I believe that.
Oh, of course. Is there any way he didn't call in?
Can someone pull the tape of that? I kind of want to play it. Because I bet he was electric. And we heard him after he did the Warriors IG Live, was it a couple weeks ago? It might have been after the Kings loss, the 22-point blown lead.
I'm out. That one?
No, that was after the knockout.
Oh.
But I can only imagine what he was screaming about last night, because there was a lot to scream about if you're a Dallas fan.
Let's go to Jimmy in Dublin. Hey, Jimmy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you.
All right. I'm just trying to figure this out, man. So, everybody is praising Brock Purdy, for him basically leading or quarterbacking a team that you can arguably say has the top tier player at every skill position.
Okay.
And not to mention their defense. Like they've made it to the Super Bowl. They've made it to the NFC. They won the NFC way, like with Garoppolo. You know what I mean? So my question is, and then on top of that, weeks ago, back when they lost those 3 in a row, people were ready to write them off. People were talking about, should they make a trade? And, if Kirk Cousins, when they got hurt, this and that. So my question is, when are these Niner fans just going to stick to the script? And either they're going to ride with him or either they're not going to ride with him. Because it's like when he's riding high, everybody praises him. And as soon as he has a bad game or throw a pick six, and then that's why he was the last pick. That's all. If you could answer that on the other side for me, man, I appreciate that.
I mean, I think you're always going to have fans like that. I think most 49er fans believe in Purdy right now. Doesn't mean they won't be devastated if they lose. But I don't think there's anybody out there. I wonder if he's talking about Goo.
Well,
after that third loss, when are we going to start?
They did make a trade, by the way. They went out. They got Chase Young.
That's right. They absolutely did. I think that's more the nature of the position. People love you until you make mistakes, and if Purdy gets them beat at any point between now and the Super Bowl, and it's an elimination game, then we're going to talk about it the entire offseason and whether or not it could be a permanent. It's kind of crazy to me. If the 49ers don't win the Super Bowl, regardless of how Brock Purdy plays, it almost feels like, well, the whole offseason will be, can he do it? Even though he will have had a great year and maybe even a really good playoff. But if he doesn't get it done, I don't know. I just look at the guy and think that he's going to be around for a while, so he's going to have plenty of time to get a shot at it.
Yeah, I also don't think it's unusual for great teams to have blips or to have even extended stretches where they don't play well. Last year, the Chiefs, they largely ran the table, but the year before that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost 3 of 4. The year that the Rams won the Super Bowl, I think they had a 3-game losing streak. So, the Super Bowl winners have had times in which they have not, played their best football, but it's how you respond to it. And the Niners have responded with it with a 6-game win streak. And then in regards to Brock Purdy, I do think there is a distinction, and maybe this is why you hear some, I don't want to say national members, but fans, people in the Bay Area who are still, I don't know if they're in or out on him, but I think it's more just they want him to win a Super Bowl in order to separate himself from the guy that he took over for. Because to his credit, Garoppolo had gotten to a Super Bowl. They'd gotten to 2 NFC championship games. I think a lot of that is because of the team around him as opposed to Jimmy G being the bus driver. Brock Purdy looks like he is the bus driver for the 49ers. And I think people just want that confirmation to say that this is our guy. He is as good as we know him to be and have seen for the first now 20 regular season starts of his career. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't win it, well, then there's going to be some people that can throw him in the Jimmy G category, and I think that's really unfair. But because of how good the Niners are, the only thing that they have to prove so far this season is if they have what it takes to make a run and get the 6th Lombardi.
Well, the other thing, too, is just look at it from a just solely experience. Not Nothing but experience. So you have McCaffrey, who everybody's saying is one of the best, if not the best, running backs in football. Well, how do you get that reputation? You got to be a running back for 8 years, which he's done. How about Deebo Samuel? Man, Deebo Samuel in his 5-6 year career has proven if he's healthy, he can't be tackled. He's that good. Okay, George Kittle. Well, George Kittle's been called the best tight end in the NFL for about 3 or 4 years now. Period. Before Purdy ever stepped on the scene. And Ayuk has always been has been a blossoming young receiver. So to me, you could just base it on experience. That's why Purdy is looked at lesser than those 3 guys. But the funny thing is if you look at Purdy's numbers right now and you didn't know he was only been a quarterback for 20 games, you'd say, oh, and they got a superstar quarterback, because that's how good the numbers are.